Valentine's Day may have just passed, but love is still in the air here in the Unova region. That's right, I'm back with another hardcore Wedlocke, and this time we're taking on Pokemon Black 2. But what is a Wedlocke, I hear you ask? Great question. It follows standard Nuzlocke rules, where you can only catch the first Pokemon in any route or area. You must give it a nickname, and if it faints, it's gone forever. But here's the twist. Instead of a standard team of 6, my Pokemon are partnered into 3 married couples. 1 male, 1 female. Once a pair enters a battle, they fight together. Switching to any other couple is forbidden. And if one partner falls, the other must fight to avenge them, or fall alongside them. Now, love does come in many forms, and you can be with whoever you want to be with. The male-female pairing is purely to crank up the difficulty. Since this is a hardcore Wedlocke, I'll also be playing on set mode, banning items in battle, and sticking to strict level limits. So, can love once again conquer the Unova region? Let's find out. We kick things off with our starter, an Oshawott who I call Romeo. Before this stud can meet his future bride, he's thrust into a battle with our rival Paul. We exchange critical hits, but Romeo has enough in the tank to get us the win. Let's get this man a wife. On Route 19, our first female encounter is a Purloin, who we of course call Juliet. We make our way through Floccacy Town before adding Ross the Pidove to the team. In Floccacy Ranch, we catch a female Azurill called Rachel, who joins Ross in holy matrimony. However, there is a slight issue. You see, due to the difference in gender ratios between Azurill and Marrow, there's a small chance that Rachel here can actually change gender when she evolves. Which of course happens when we evolve Rachel. This kinda does defeat the purpose of a Wedlocke, but I've grown quite attached to this little scamp already, so I decide to keep Ross and Rachel as an all-male pairing. However, if anything happens further down the line, I'll pair the survivor up with a female. Anyway, back to the run. After Ross takes out our rival Paul's Snivy, we chase off a Team Plasma Grunt and head back down to Aspertia for our first gym battle. Now, chairing can be hard enough in normal circumstances, never mind the fact I'm limited to just 2 Pokemon. However, I've cooked up a small plan. We lead with Rachel, who's been blessed with the huge power ability. We start with a defense curl as Patrat goes for a workup. Fun fact, in addition to raising your defense curl doubles the power of rollout, which is what we proceed to use next. It does take a bit to get going, but with rollout, Rachel is able to take out Patrat and Lillipup, winning us our first badge. We make our way to Burbank City, where we see Roxy having an argument with her dad. We could go straight to the gym, but I turned down the bright lights of a goth girl with daddy issues for now, as we can get an encounter in the Burbank complex. Meet Jacob the Magby. This is actually a really cool encounter, although probably not great until he evolves. After a quick training arc where Romeo and Rachel evolve, it's time to take on Roxy. First up is Coughing, who goes down to a couple of returns from Rachel. Whirlipede is up next, so we go into Ross on a Venoshock, which takes away almost half of our health. We stay in because Ross is a dog. I mean, technically he's a bird, but anyway, he survives another Venoshock with just 2 HP, so we decide to get the hell out and go back to Rachel. After a couple of protects, Rachel gets us the win with some more returns. We're then forced to head up to Pokestar Studios for the worst interactive cutscene of all time. Stu Dio is the GOAT though. Don't worry though, I won't make you suffer through that, or the Team Plasma subplot, which brings us to Castelia City. Before we go to the sewers, we make a quick detour to Route 4. I'd rather find Jacob a wife here than in the sewers, and if the gods are good, we'll run into a Sandile. Which we do. Unfortunately, it's a boy, so we have to reroll until we get a girl. And the first one that pops up is a Darumaka, who we call Bella. Back in the sewers, our encounter comes in the form of a double battle with our rival Paul. I'd love the Zubat here, but my dumbass rival has other plans, so Fiona the Grimer joins the box. She's joined by Shrek the Timber. In Castelia City, you can actually repel, manipulate, and EV for your encounter. However, the Nuzlocke gods clearly don't like this, as Ross dies. Eevee refuses to be caught, and Rachel finds himself on the brink. However, we do eventually get the catch and Mario goes to the box. Because she's the only female we've got, Fiona comes in to pair up with Rachel. Next up is the bug type gym, and the answer may be obvious. Why not use the fire type pairing of Jacob and Bella? Well, two issues. First, Burr has a rock-typed Dwebble, which could hit us hard. And secondly, Bella has the Hustle ability, which does boost her attack, but it also lowers her accuracy. To help with some bulk, I pick up the Eviolite, which boosts the defense of unevolved Pokemon. Just as I'm about to commit to letting Bella aimlessly throw hands, I succumb to a small voice inside my head.
Why not be a scumbag instead?
Sorry, what?
Be a scumbag.
The voice was clearly convincing, as I go with the team of Fiona and Rachel instead. Thanks to the Eviolite, Swadloon's Razor Leaf does just 4 HP, as Fiona gets to work minimising. Once her evasion is maxed out, Swadloon goes down to some sludges. Dwebble can use Feint Attack, which doesn't miss, but thanks to the Eviolite, this does nothing. So Fiona gets the kill with a couple of Mud Bombs. Burr's ace is Leavanny, however a few missed cuts means that Fiona is able to get the clean sweep with a couple more sludges, earning us badge number 3. I'll appreciate that was really cheesy, and I'll try not to do it again, but this challenge is mega difficult and sometimes you've just got to do what you need to do to survive. On Route 4 we have a battle with Colrus. As he predominantly uses steel types, I decide to go with Bella, who has the great idea of continually missing, getting paralysed and almost dying. Great job, Bella. Luckily, Jacob is at hand to come and save her. What a hero. Hashtag Team Jacob in the comments, guys. In the desert resort, our encounter is a Sandile, thank God. Honestly, this is one of the best Pokemon in the entire game and will come in really useful further down the line. It's okay, 2 Pokeballs should be just fine. After that disaster, I go to Nimbasa and spend every penny I have on Great Balls, and go on a bit of a catching spree. In Relic Castle we catch Morticia the Yamask, and on Route 16 we catch Rose the Audino. Then in Lostlorn Forest we run into a Leavanny, who Fiona decides to poison. Then, if that wasn't bad enough, a critical hit leaves us on just 6 HP. So we either throw a ball, miss and lose Fiona, or throw a ball, catch and have 2 alive Pokemon. I know which one sounds better, so I throw a ball. Yes, welcome to the gang, Lois. Fiona not dying means we're rocking the same 3 pairs for Elisa, another tricky customer. Romeo and Juliet can't do much, and Rachel is out too. That means that Bella and the newly evolved Jacob are probably the go-to for this one.
Be a scumbag again.
What?
Be a scumbag, do it.
Fine. Emolga starts with a Volt Switch, as Fiona uses a Minimize. Fiona then gets her second and third Minimizes off as Flaffy hits a Volt Switch at the second time of asking. Emolga doesn't get so lucky and falls to a couple of Sludge Bombs. Flaffy comes back in and hits again. Jesus Christ, how accurate is this sheep? That means Fiona's Sludge Bomb hits Zebstrika as it comes in. I'm not sure what Elisa's been feeding her Pokemon, carrots probably, as Zebstrika is also able to land a Volt Switch, putting an end to our tiny little ball of tricks. Rest in peace, Fiona. Now, safe to say we are not in a good place as Rachel comes in. He fires off a return which doesn't get the kill and lets Flaffy paralyse us. This means Flaffy outspeeds and leaves us on just half health with the Volt Switch. However, Rachel does break through paralysis and lands a return on Zebstrika, but there's no way that's going to be enough. So as we stare down the barrel, Zebstrika goes for a Pursuit? Okay. This does trigger the Citrus Berry and yet again Rachel breaks through paralysis, fires off a return, and gets the KO. I'm not gonna lie, I had the obituary ready for Rachel here. There is still time though, as we aren't out of the woods yet. Flaffy comes back in and leaves us on just 26 HP with the Volt Switch. So, it's down to this. Can Rachel break through paralysis for a third time? Of course he can, landing a massive return which takes out Flaffy and wins us our 4th badge. What a man. You sir are on Goat Watch. Naturally, the mood is a bit low after losing Fiona. However, all is forgotten as that juicy Driftfield theme song kicks in. Rachel is rewarded with a new baddie wife, and it's these two who are the chosen pair for taking down Clay. Krokorok does have Intimidate, which means we fall just short with a Razor Leaf. All Clay can do is heal as we get the KO with a Bug Bite and a Struggle Bug. Excadrill comes in next, so we go for Bug Bite to steal his Citrus Berry. Excadrill then uses Bulldoze, which reduces our speed, meaning on the next turn we get outsped and just survive a Rock Slide. To make matters worse, we also miss a Razor Leaf. We have no option but to go into Rachel, who tanks a Metal Claw and a Slash before unleashing an Aqua Tail, which of course gets the KO. Sandslash is no issue for the GOAT, who cleans up and wins us yet another badge. I've not seen a run like this. Every single badge up to this point has been won by Rachel and his base. For the Pokemon World Tournament, we're forced into bringing 3 Pokemon. I'll of course be sticking with just 2 of these 3 and decide to go with the pairing of Jacob and Bella. And I'm starting to think Rachel might have some competition, as Jacob sweeps every single person in the tournament, single-handedly winning us the trophy. Our rival Paul isn't impressed though, as he says never mind hashtag Team Jacob, we need to whoop hashtag Team Plasma. Oh Jesus, that was actually awful. It's probably not fair letting Rachel hog all the gyms, so I let the OG Lovebirds have a crack at Skyla. After a fake out on the first turn, Swoobat hits us extremely hard with an Acrobatics, as Juliet falls just short with an Assurance. As Skyla heals, our only chance here is hoping that Shadow Claw gets a crit. But it's not to be, as we fall just short and Acrobatics takes out Juliet. I appreciate you haven't seen much of her, but she was great for me in Celestial Tower and I really believed in her. Romeo comes in next and gets revenge with an Aqua Jet. However, it's looking like an uphill battle as Swanna is out next. A Feather Dance kills Romeo's attack, so we trade Surfs and Air Slashes and Romeo gets the win, albeit on just 4 HP. Which means when Skarmory comes out, they're free to outspeed and get the kill with a Fury attack. Okay. It's not quite enough though, as Surf triggers Skarmory's Sturdy ability. Now, it's at this point I make the blunder of the century. I'm not sure why, but I felt like Skyla had more than one healing item, so predicting a heal, I go for Surf and just get outsped. All I had to do was use Aqua Jet and Romeo would have lived. I'm an idiot. It is quite poetic that Romeo and Juliet died at the same time though. Rest in peace. Jacob comes in to win us the Jet Badge, but at what cost? On the flight to Lentimas Town, we're joined by 2 new passengers, as Peach the Galvantula and Mario the Vaporeon join the team. Speaking of Vaporeon, did you know? Don't worry, I'm not doing it this time, but subscribe anyway. Or don't. After catching Gomez the Skorupi and Leela the Jellicent, we're faced with our rival Paul in Undella Town. This goes relatively smoothly, although Bella does almost die to a Leaf Blade from Serperior. As always, Jacob's there to save the day. Hashtag Team Jacob. The encounters continue with Pam the Mainfu and Angelina the Tangela. On Route 12, we're lucky enough to get a female Combi, who Bella decides to crit. On Route 11, we catch a Basculin called Brad, which means we can double back to Village Bridge for a guaranteed Lapras. The only issue is Lapras is a 5% encounter inside a rippling spot of water. So I have to run back and forward, get a spot and then hit the 1 in 20 chance. After what felt like hours, I was starting to doubt its existence. I probably would have been quicker going to Loch Ness and finding the actual Loch Ness monster. Anyway, our Lapras finally makes an appearance. And he uses Perish Song. F*** it. Welcome to the team, Fry. After catching Kim the Poniard, it's finally time to go to the gym. However, in the rotation battle just before Drayden, we do almost lose Rachel to a critical hit revenge, which does not fill me with confidence.
BS qu'un bag.
No, not again, we can't keep doing this.
BS qu'un bag. BS qu'un bag. BS qu'un bag.
Fine. Against Drayden's Drudigan, we lead with Mario the Vaporeon, who kicks things off with an Acid Armor. And then another one. And then another one. With our defense at +6, we start firing off Aurora Beams. Flygon doesn't stand a chance. So it's on to Haxorus, and honestly, I'm feeling good. Aurora Beam does about half, which does trigger the Citrus Berry, but that's fine because maybe that's what I get for being a scumbag, as the Nuzlocke gods punish us with a force switch to Jacob and Bella, who we are now locked into. Haxorus goes for a Dragon Dance, as Jacob misses a Smog. We go into Bella as a second Dragon Dance hits the Haxorus. Haxorus goes for Slash. Oh my god, we're getting swept here. Jacob comes back in and is all but guaranteed to be a goner. But Haxorus goes for a third Dragon Dance. Jacob goes for a Lava Plume, which miraculously gets the burn. The attack nerf from the burn means we can survive an Assurance, and the combination of Lava Plume and burn damage isn't enough to get the KO. As Drayden heals, the best we can do is try and accumulate some damage, although it's all just delaying the inevitable, as he goes for a Dragon Dance again? Okay, well, a Feint Attack gets some more damage off, and it's finally time to say goodbye to Jacob, as Drayden puts us out of our misery. JK, lol, he missed, which means Jacob gets us the KO with another Feint Attack, winning us badge number 7 and cementing himself as an all-time Hall of Fame encounter on this channel. Hashtag Team Jacob in the comments right now. Please. After saying goodbye to Bella, we bring in Zelda to partner Jacob, and they're immediately thrust into action as Jacob mows down some Team Plasma thugs outside the gym. We then make the short trip to Himalaw City via the Marine Tube, which is one of my all-time favourite Pokemon locations. Anyway, in Himalaw, literally all we need to do is take on Marlin. Except, not really, as I'm a giant dumbass and lose Lois to a random gym trainer. Kim the Pawniard comes in to partner Rachel, however it's the man of the moment Jacob and his new partner Zelda who are the chosen pair for Marlin. And this time, we're just going to throw hands the good old fashioned way. Or hoofs. Horns, I guess? As we take out Caracosta with a couple of Horn Leeches. Wailord also goes down to a couple of Horn Leeches before Zelda is face to face with Jellicent. He can be a tricky customer, so I try and be cute and miss a Leech Seed, as Jellicent goes for Scald and, of course, gets the burn. A second Leech Seed connects as Jellicent hits us with another Scald. I revert back to the original plan of throwing horns, and after a couple of these, Jellicent goes down and we find ourselves with all 8 badges. Now this is usually the part where we head to Victory Road, but we have a rather meaty evil team we need to go and defeat. The first stop is the Team Plasma Frigate, which in English is a giant boat. On the boat lives Zinzalin, who takes us on in a double battle. Thankfully, Paul is on hand to team up with us, and it's actually his Simisear who carries this fight. Scolipede was threatening to kill Kim, but Simisear comes in and takes it out, as well as his Weavile. Thanks Paul, hopefully your thirst for blood has been quenched. After being ejected from the giant boat, we head across to the giant chasm, where we get back on the giant boat. Okay. It's time for another double battle, however Paul can't save me now, and it's up to the team of Mario and Peach to save us. Straight away, Mario gets double teamed, leaving him poisoned and on the brink of death. As these two are locked in together, there's no way Mario makes it out this one alive. We're able to take out Scraggy and Strubbish, but he does finally fall to a Sludge Bomb. Kim comes in to help out Peach, and together they avenge Mario's death. After a long, humbling walk back to Himalaw City, we bring in Shrek the Conkeldurr to partner Peach. Somehow, I don't think that's the last time we'll make this walk. Because after defeating roughly 1 million Plasma Grunts, we have a small gauntlet of top-ranking Plasma bosses to take down. First up is Colress, and already it's not looking good. His team doesn't look great for any of my pairings, but I eventually settle on Jacob and Zelda. We get off to the worst possible start, as Jump Kick doesn't even do half, and we get paralysed. 2 flash cannons and a paralysis leaves us in the red, so we have no option but to go into Jacob, who's able to outspeed and get the KO. 1 down, 4 to go. Jacob just misses the KO on Magnezone and finds himself paralysed too, and as Colress heals, we get fully paralysed. Things go from bad to really bad as Magneton goes for an explosion and our sweet Prince Jacob finally falls. Honestly, I am gutted at this. Although he probably should have never made it this far, the feats he was able to pull off were nothing short of miraculous. Hashtag Team Jacob for life. The heavily wounded Zelda comes back out to fight Metang and swiftly joins her husband in the afterlife. Next up is Rachel, who gets revenge for his fallen comrades. Out comes Klinklang, who raises its attack and speed with a shift gear, as we land an Aqua Tail which pops the air balloon. The shift gear does mean that Klinklang now outspeeds and hits extra hard, and as it goes for a Giga Impact, all we can do and hope and pray that Rachel hangs on. This is huge, however Bulldoze doesn't quite do enough for the KO, although it does lower Klinklang's speed. The question is though, does it lower their speed enough for us to hit first? The answer to that is sadly no, as Klinklang fires off a Giga Impact which ends the run for Rachel. If Jacob was the prince of this run, Rachel was undoubtedly the king. 2 genders, 1 husband, 3 wives and 5 gym badges. If that doesn't get you in the Hall of Fame, I don't know what will. The battle does have to go on though, as Kim comes in and cleans things up. But man, that was rough. In the captain's quarters, we come face to face with the mastermind of this bloodshed, Ghetsis. But he's too much of a coward and runs away, deep into the chasm. After dispatching of the Shadow Triad, we make the long walk back to Himmelau, and I can't get this bloodshed out of my head.
Et need to pay.
Mario, Zelda, Jacob, and Peach.
Be the scumbag you were always meant to be.
Team Plasma has taken too much, they need to be stopped.
You know what you have to do.
Before we can take on Ghetsis, we have to take down Kyurem, and whoever we use in this fight will be our pairing for the Ghetsis fight too. Luckily, I have just the pairing. I'd like to formally introduce Pam the Mienshao and Gomez the Drapion, and it's Pam who's up first to take down Kyurem. It's a bit of a close call, however a few drain punches are enough to get us the win, and it's time to finally exact revenge on the leader of Team Plasma, Ghetsis. Now, Pam and Gomez are the perfect pair for this. First up, we use U-turn on Cofagrigus, which brings in Gomez on a Toxic. Now, it's time for me to once again become a scumbag, and at this point I don't care. Ghetsis and his cronies have taken too much from me, and I'm not about to let it happen again. Gomez gets to work and sets up 3 Swords Dances, as Cofagrigus does nothing. Once fully set up, Gomez proceeds to take out Ghetsis' entire team. First, Cofagrigus, then Seismitoad and Drapion. Heavy hitters like Hydreigon and Electros fall to X-Scissors, and there's nothing Ghetsis can do. Toxicroak survives a Night Slash, but Gomez is inevitable. A deathless Ghetsis. It won't bring back any of the Pokemon we've lost, but man, that felt good. With Team Plasma taken care of, it's time to make our way through Victory Road, which, truthfully, went really smoothly. That is, until on the very last staircase we lose Peach and Shrek to a random trainer. We were so close to the end, but I'm not taking any chances, so I make the long walk back and add Jack the Swanna and Leela the Jellicent to the team. Our final test before the Elite Four comes in the form of our rival, Paul. The Ghetsis fight went so well, I don't see any reason to stray from Pam and Gomez, so I start things off with a Swords Dance as Unpheasant goes for a U-turn. Gomez picks up where he left off with a critical hit on Bouffalant. Friend of the channel, Simisage comes in and has the audacity to survive a Night Slash, and hit us hard with a flamethrower. As Paul heals, Gomez adds another KO to his resume. However, as Unpheasant comes back in, Gomez can't quite get it over the line and unfortunately falls to an aerial ace. Pam comes in and cleans up, but as Serperior comes in, things are not looking good. A Leaf Blade hits us hard, and after a measly acrobatics, Pam falls to a Giga Drain. Fry the Lapras comes in to make his debut and does well to survive a Leaf Blade and hit a pretty solid Ice Beam. He can't take another one though, so we go to his partner Kim, who tanks a couple of leaf blades and gets us the win. So, battered and bruised, with a trail of corpses behind us, we finally made it to the summit of the Unova region, the Pokemon League. However, with 2 spaces on the team and 5 extraordinary trainers facing us down, we're just getting started.
I think it is about time we met. Face to face.
First up in the Elite Four is Chantal and her ghost types. She leads with Cofagrigus, and I kick things off with Fry, who sets up a nasty plot and shrugs off a Will-O-Wisp with a held Lumberry. This gives Fry the firepower to take out Cofagrigus with a Dark Pulse. Chantal's remaining ghost types meet the exact same fate, each of them falling to a Dark Pulse from Fry. However, eagle-eyed viewers will see that it's not actually Fry doing the damage here. I'd like you to meet the final pairing of the run, Arwen the Haxorus and, perhaps the greatest scumbag of all time, Aragorn the Zoroark. Don't believe me? Well, let me prove it to you, as Caitlyn is up next. Using his illusion ability to impersonate his wife, Aragorn sets up a nasty plot as Musharna goes for a yawn. Shadow Ball gets the KO and, as he falls asleep, wakes right back up with a Lumberry. Refreshed from the brief nap, Aragorn once again goes to town, picking up another 3 easy knockouts, meaning we have taken down 2 of the Elite Four already. Grimsley is up next, and I think it's time to properly introduce you to Arwen. Caught off screen in Mistralton Cave, she has the Rivalry ability. This can be a blessing and a curse, as it boosts your attack when facing opponents of the same gender, and reduces it when facing opponents of the opposite gender. Luckily for us, Grimsley has packed his team exclusively with females. I know what kind of man you are. He leads with Liepard, who honestly can't do much, so after taking a fake out, we set up a Swords Dance before taking her out on the next turn with an X-Scissor. The Swords Dance might seem like overkill, but Crocodile comes in next and reduces our attack with Intimidate. If we don't get the knockout here, things could get dicey. Not to worry though, as an X-Scissor is enough to take out the Croc, which clears the path for easy KOs on Scrafty and Bisharp. 3 down, 1 to go. Marshall is a different kettle of fish altogether.
Marshall is a different kettle of fish.
With 3 of my Pokemon weak to fighting types, it's up to Juliet and Jack to thug this one out. Jack is up first and a fly just misses the KO, which means Throw is able to hit us hard with a payback. On the next turn we roost and he misses a Rock Tomb, which leaves us free to get the KO with another fly. Conkeldurr is up next and Fly yet again fails to get the KO, meaning we sadly lose Jack to a Stone Edge. Thankfully Leela comes in and gets revenge with a Psychic. Payback from Sock takes Leela down to just over half, and this time it's Leela's turn to miss the one-hit KO. We barely survive another payback before taking down Sock with another Psychic. Last up is Mienshao, and as he springs up for a bounce, we take the chance to recover some health. Our Cursed Body ability kicks in to disable bounce as we fail once again to get the knockout with Psychic. Predicting a heal, we recover back to full health. With bounce disabled, all he can do is U-turn, and with nowhere to run, Leela is free to get us the win with a few more Psychics. So, with the Elite Four defeated, all that's left between us and victory is the champion Iris. And as we ascend the stairs to our final battle, I can't help think about how far we've come. This has not been an easy challenge, and we've lost a lot of Pokemon along the way. Iris herself is pretty brutal, with a well-balanced team of heavy hitters. Hell, her lead Pokemon is Hydreigon. I myself kick things off with Aragorn, disguised as Kim. Aragorn fires off a U-turn, which means Arwen comes in on a flamethrower. Now, the beautiful thing about Iris' team is that they are all females, which means Arwen instantly has a 25% power boost, which she uses to take out Hydreigon with a Dragon Claw. Unfortunately, this power boost isn't enough to take out Lapras, who fires off an Ice Beam, which we just survive. As Iris heals, we take this opportunity to sneak in a Swords Dance, which gives Arwen the extra boost she needs to one-shot Lapras. Truth be told, Haxorus is kind of a monster, as Arwen takes out Archeops, Druddigon, and Aggron with just one hit. Iris clocks onto this and decides to fight fire with fire, bringing out a Haxorus of her own. Unfortunately for her, my Haxorus is just better. As Arwen outspeeds, lands a Dragon Claw. Oh my god, I forgot about the Focus Sash. Truthfully, even if I had remembered she had a Focus Sash, there was nothing I could do about it anyway. Rest in peace, Arwen. You were here for a good time, not a long time. And this is where things get baffling. Aragorn comes out and I'm fully expecting a heal here. Cerebi says she has 3 potions, so I go for a nasty plot to give me a bigger chance at a one-shot, and she goes for a Dragon Dance. This means Haxorus is able to outspeed Aragorn, and with the critical hit Earthquake, yeah, he had no chance. This could actually be it for us. I can't believe we've come all this way just to fall at the final hurdle. Fry comes out and she goes for another Dragon Dance. I am so confused, but honestly I do not care because Fry is able to land an Ice Beam, taking down Haxorus, winning us the battle and the entire run. Wow, that was a roller coaster from start to finish. Standard Wedlocks are brutal enough, but when you throw in a hardcore rule set, things start to get pretty insane. Fortunately, I had some amazing Pokemon to call upon to get me over the line on this one. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you want to see more dumb challenges like this, please subscribe. I've got a bunch more crazy runs right here on the channel, so be sure to check those out in the meantime. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.